Hello viewers, today's our reading topic is about Elizabethan age from Renaissance period. The Renaissance period, 15th century to 1660. Though Renaissance began in 1453, its effect on English life and literature was felt after 15th century. For this reason, it is generally accepted that the Renaissance period began with the beginning of the 16th century and continued till the Restoration in 1660. This period is called the Renaissance period because Renaissance spirit was the main driving force that characterized the literature of this time. This period of 160 years is subdivided into four shorter ages after the names of the political rulers. Number A. Elizabethan age, B. Jacobean age, C. Caroline age, D. Commonwealth period. Elizabethan age, 1558 to 1603. This age is named after Queen Elizabeth I, who reigned over England from 1558 to 1603. This is called the Golden Age of English literature. The important fact which influenced the literature of this period: number 1, with the accession of Queen Elizabeth I, dynastic problems and political troubles came to an end. Religious and social stability brought about national prosperity. Number 2, the religious reformation inspired religious tolerance and secularism. Number 3, Elizabeth I introduced Anglicanism to settle religious problems. It has a long history. In the 16th century, Martin Luther of Germany and Zwingli and Calvin of Switzerland protested against the autocracy of the then Pope. Those who supported them were called Protestants, and those who still supported the Pope were called the Papists or Catholics. Henry VIII, who was the King of England during those years, supported Protestantism for his personal advantage. He wanted to divorce his first wife, Catherine, and marry Anne Boleyn, his fiancée, but the Pope didn't approve it, so he denied Pope's authority, married Anne Boleyn, and introduced Protestantism to England. Some of the people accepted King's religious authority, but the rest followed the Pope's rule. This caused a bloody civil war which continued till 1558. The year Queen Elizabeth I came to power, she understood the problem and introduced Anglicanism, England's own church. This religious settlement brought stability and prosperity to England in the second half of the 16th century. Number 4, geographical and astronomical discoveries of the previous decades brought unlimited fortune during this period. Number 5, Renaissance that had started earlier was now very strongly felt in England. It brought ancient Greek and Roman wisdom to England. Erasmus reached England, and with John Colet taught humanism and other ideals of Renaissance. Number 6, the social life of England was marked with a strong national spirit, humanism, liberal religious views, scientific curiosity, social content, intellectual progress, and unlimited enthusiasm. Major writers of the period and their major works. Thomas More wrote Utopia or Kingdom of Nowhere. The book was originally written in Latin in 1560. Norton and Sackville has written together Gorboduc, the first English tragedy. Edmund Spenser, he is called the poet of poets because many later English poets followed his art of poetry. The Fairy Queen and the Shepherd's Calendar was written by him. Nicholas Udall, Ralph Roister Doister, the first English comedy was written by Nicholas Udall. Sir Philip Sidney, An Apology for Poetry, a critical treatise. Arcadia, a book that bears the emblem of English novel Those were written by Sir Philip Sidney. John Lilly, he is called a university wit. Campus B, Sapphire and Fowl, Midas, Euphues, a book that bears the ember of English novel. Those were also written by John Lilly. Thomas Kate, he is another university wit. He wrote the Spanish tragedy. Robert Greene is another university wit. He wrote Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay and James IV. George Paley, he is another university wit. David and Bathsheba, Arraignment of Paris, were written by him. Now, what is university wits? University wits are a group of young dramatists who wrote and performed in London towards the end of the 16th century. They are called university wits because they were the witty students of Cambridge or Oxford. Marlowe, Kate, Nashe, Greene, Lilly, Lodge, and Paley were the members of this group. They appealed to the classical ideals and ridiculed the crudeness of the New English plays. Francis Bacon, he is called natural philosopher. He wrote so many essays and published a book entitled The Essays in 1597. Christopher Marlowe, he is another university wit. Tambellina and Great Part, First and Second, The Joe of Malta, Edward II, Dr. Faustus, those were written by Christopher Marlowe. William Shakespeare, the greatest English dramatist, famous for the objective presentation of his deep knowledge about human psychology, he is often called the Bird of Avon. He wrote 37 plays and 154 sonnets. Of the total 37 plays, he wrote the following 25 before the death of Queen Elizabeth I. Henry IV, First Part, Second Part, and Third Part, and also Richard III was written by him. Additionally, he also wrote the Comedy of Errors, Titus Andronicus, The Taming of the Shrew, Love's Lovers Lost, Romeo and Juliet, A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, King John, Richard II, The Merchant of Venice, Henry IV, First and Second Part, Much Ado About Nothing, Henry V, and last one is Julius Caesar. And there are more. The Merry Wives of Windsor, As You Like It, Hamlet, Twelfth Night, Troilus and Cressida, All's Well That Ends Well. Thomas Nashe, he is also called a university wit. The Unfortunate Traveller was written by him. Ben Jonson, a neoclassicist, though he wrote in the time when romantic mode of literature was prevalent. He is called a neoclassicist because he followed the classical rules of drama. He wrote Every Man Out of His Humor, Every Man in His Humor. Beaumont and Fletcher wrote Philaster, A King and No King, The Maid's Tragedy. Main literary features of the age. Number 1. Elizabethan literature reflects a great variety of creative genius. Number 2. It demonstrates experimentation and innovation in dramatic and poetic forms and techniques. Number 3. It is deeply influenced by the Renaissance period, especially by the Renaissance literature of Italy, France, and Spain. Number 4. In style, it exhibits a romantic exuberance. Number 5. Its writers are all men, not women, from all classes of the society. Number 6. It is an age of exquisite poetry, unparalleled drama, and splendid prose. Number 7. It marks a shift from man's fate to his free will. Number 8. It develops English language to a level of stable standard. Number 9. Its spirit ranges from the Platonic idealism or the delightful romance to the level of gross realism. Number 10. The literature of this age shows a quest for the remote, the wonderful, and the beautiful. Number 11. It reflects original romanticism that revived during the beginning of Romantic Age in 1798. Number 12. It initiates literary criticisms. Thank you so much. That's all for today. In the next part, we'll read about Jacobean Age and Caroline Age.